You know that moment when you finally stop reaching out, and they stop reaching out too. And suddenly there's just silence, complete radio silence. No texts, no calls, no random Instagram likes at 2 in the morning. Nothing. And you're sitting there thinking, this is it. This is what I wanted, right? Space, distance, peace. But here's what nobody tells you about what actually happens next when you and a dismissive avoidant both stop contacting each other. And trust me, it's not what you think. So let's talk about this, because I know you're going through it right now. You're wondering if they're thinking about you. You're wondering if they miss you. You're wondering if this silence means it's really over, or if there's still a chance. And more importantly, you're trying to figure out what's happening in their head while you're over here barely holding it together. First, let's get real about what led to this silence in the first place. You didn't just wake up one day and decide to stop reaching out. No, this was a slow burn. A painful, exhausting slow burn. You've been the one carrying the relationship on your back. You've been the one initiating conversations, making plans, asking how their day went, trying to connect, trying to get them to open up. And what did you get in return? Breadcrumbs, short responses, canceled plans, the classic, "I'm just really busy right now" excuse that somehow lasts for weeks. They gave you just enough to keep you hoping, but never enough to feel secure. And then one day, you just got tired. Tired of being the only one trying. Tired of feeling like you're chasing someone who's constantly running away. Tired of analyzing every text message, wondering if you said something wrong, wondering why they're being distant again. So you stopped. You stopped texting first. You stopped making plans. You stopped asking if everything's okay. You just stopped. And here's the kicker. They stopped too. No grand gesture. No fight to keep you. They just let the silence happen. Now, in those first few days of no contact, something interesting happens on both sides. For you, there's this weird mixture of relief and panic. Relief because finally, you're not exhausting yourself trying to get emotional crumbs from someone who won't give them. The anxiety of waiting for their reply, the constant overthinking, checking your phone every 5 minutes. It stops. And that feels good for about 5 seconds. But then, the panic sets in. The what-ifs start flooding your brain. What if they don't reach out? What if they're fine without me? What if I was the problem all along? What if they've already moved on, and I'm here, still thinking about them? You start wondering if you made a mistake by pulling back. Maybe you should have tried harder. Maybe you should have been more patient. Maybe you pushed them away by being too needy, too emotional, too much. And this is where it gets really painful, because you start questioning your own worth. If they can go days, weeks, without talking to you and seem perfectly fine, what does that say about how much you meant to them? But here's what's actually happening on their side. And this is important to understand. Dismissive avoidants. They're wired differently when it comes to attachment and connection. When you stop reaching out, and they stop reaching out, their initial response isn't panic like yours. It's relief. And I know that hurts to hear. But stay with me, because it's more complicated than it sounds. They feel relief because the pressure is off. See, every time you reached out, trying to connect, trying to get closer, their nervous system was screaming danger. Not because you're dangerous, but because intimacy feels dangerous to them. It feels like a threat to their independence, their sense of self, their control. So when the silence happens, they breathe easier. They think, okay, good, now I can just focus on my stuff without feeling guilty for not responding fast enough, or not being emotional enough, or not meeting their needs. They dive into their work, their hobbies, their routines. They tell themselves they're fine. They don't need anyone. They're better off alone, anyway. This is what they've always believed deep down, and now they have proof. See? The silence is proof that they were right all along. Relationships are complicated and suffocating, and being alone is easier. But, and this is the big but, that relief doesn't last forever. After a while, something starts to shift. It might take days, it might take weeks, sometimes even months, but it happens. They start to miss you. Not in the way you miss them, not with that desperate, heart-wrenching longing. It's more subtle for them. They'll be going about their day, completely fine, and then something will remind them of you. A song, a place you went together, a joke you would have laughed at. And they'll feel this little tug in their chest. This little thought that says, I wonder what they're doing right now. At first, they brush it off. They're good at brushing feelings off. They've been doing it their whole lives. But the thoughts keep coming. They start remembering the good times, the way you laughed, the way you understood them in ways other people didn't, the way you made them feel safe, even though they'd never admit that out loud. And here's where it gets tricky for them. They start to feel something they really don't like to feel. Regret. Not full-blown, fall-on-your-knees regret, but this quiet, nagging feeling that maybe they messed up. Maybe they let someone good slip away. Maybe their fear of getting close cost them something real. But here's the thing about dismissive avoidance. Even when they start missing you, even when they start feeling regret, they still don't reach out. Why? Because reaching out means admitting they need you. It means admitting they were wrong. It means being vulnerable and opening themselves up to rejection. And all of that feels impossible to them. So they sit with it. They think about texting you 100 times. They type out messages and delete them. They scroll through old photos. They wonder if you're thinking about them too. But they don't reach out. They tell themselves it's better this way. They tell themselves you've probably moved on. They tell themselves that if you really cared, you would reach out first. Yes, even after you've been the one reaching out this entire time. Meanwhile, you're on your own journey through this silence. And let me tell you, it's not easy. In the beginning, you might feel strong. You might feel like you finally took your power back by not chasing anymore. You might even feel a little proud of yourself for setting that boundary. But then the loneliness hits. The missing them hits. The memories hit. And it's brutal. You find yourself looking at your phone, hoping to see their name pop up. You wonder if they're doing okay. You wonder if they miss you at all. You analyze the last conversation you had, looking for clues. Should you reach out? Would that make you look weak? Would they even respond? And this is where you have to be really careful, because this is where a lot of people break. They reach out again. They send the, "Hey, how are you?" text. They make up an excuse to contact them. And you know what usually happens? One of two things. Either the dismissive avoidant responds casually, like nothing happened, giving you just enough attention to pull you back in, but not enough to actually change anything. Or they respond cold and distant, making you feel even worse than before. Either way, you're back in the cycle. Back to square one. Back to chasing someone who's running away. But what if you don't reach out? What if you actually hold strong through the silence? This is where the real transformation happens. And this is what I really want you to understand. Because this silence, as painful as it is actually doing something powerful for both of you. For them, it's forcing them to sit with their own emotions, without having you there to regulate them. They can't take your attention for granted anymore. They can't get their ego boost from knowing you're always there waiting. They have to face what it actually feels like to lose you. And for some dismissive avoidants, this is the wake-up call they need. Not all of them, but some of them will start to realize what they lost. They'll start to see their patterns. They'll start to understand that their fear of intimacy has cost them something valuable. But here's what I need you to hear. Whether they have that realization or not isn't actually about you. It's about them and their own healing journey. Some dismissive avoidants will use this silence to go even deeper into their avoidance. They'll convince themselves they don't need anyone. They'll move on to someone new who they can keep at arm's length. They'll tell themselves they dodged a bullet. And you need to be okay with that possibility. Because you can't fix someone who doesn't want to be fixed. You can't force someone to face their fears. You can't love someone into healing. And this brings me to the most important part. What this silence is doing for you. This is your opportunity to break your own patterns. Because if you're attracted to dismissive avoidance, if you're the one always chasing, always trying to earn love, always proving your worth, then you have your own healing to do. This silence is forcing you to sit with yourself, to sit with your own fears of abandonment, your own insecurities, your own worth issues. It's forcing you to ask yourself why you accepted breadcrumbs for so long, why you thought love was supposed to be this hard, why you kept trying to get someone to see your value instead of seeing it yourself. When you both stop contacting each other, you're both actually at a crossroads. They're at a crossroads between continuing their pattern of avoidance or finally facing their fear of intimacy. And you're at a crossroads between continuing your pattern of anxious attachment and chasing unavailable people, or finally choosing yourself, finally understanding that real love doesn't feel like this. Real love doesn't require you to chase, beg, convince, or prove. Real love meets you where you are. Real love isn't afraid of your needs. Real love doesn't run away when things get deep. So what actually happens next when you both stop contacting each other? The truth is, it depends. Sometimes they come back. Sometimes they reach out weeks or months later, when they've had time to miss you, when they've realized what they lost. And sometimes that reach out is genuine. Sometimes they've done the work on themselves. Sometimes they're ready to show up differently. But a lot of times, it's just the same cycle starting over again. They come back because they miss the attention, the validation, the comfort of having you there. But they haven't actually changed. They'll pull you close just to push you away again when it gets too real. And here's the hard truth. By the time they come back, you might not want them anymore. Because in that silence, you've grown. You've healed. You've remembered who you are without them. You've stopped making someone else's inability to love you mean something about your worth. You've realized that being alone is better than being with someone who makes you feel alone. And when they come back with their half-hearted attempts at reconnection, you'll see them clearly for the first time. You'll see the pattern. You'll see the fear. You'll see that nothing has actually changed, and you'll have the strength to choose yourself. But sometimes they don't come back at all, and that's okay too. Actually, it's more than okay. It's necessary, because their absence creates space for the right person to enter your life. Someone who isn't afraid of your love. Someone who doesn't run from intimacy. Someone who shows up consistently, who communicates, who makes you feel secure instead of anxious. Someone who proves through their actions, not just their words, that they want to be with you. The silence between you and a dismissive avoidant isn't just an ending. It's also a beginning. It's the beginning of you reclaiming your peace, your power, your sense of self. It's the beginning of you understanding that you deserve more than crumbs, more than inconsistency, more than confusion. You deserve someone who is sure about you. Someone who doesn't need space from you. Someone who sees your attempts at connection as a gift, not a burden. So if you're in this silence right now, I want you to know something. It's going to hurt. Some days it's going to hurt so much you'll want to break and reach out. You'll want to go back to the familiar pain of trying, rather than sit with the unfamiliar pain of letting go. But I'm telling you, stay strong. Let the silence do its work. Let them figure out what they lost. Let yourself figure out what you're worth. Use this time to heal your own attachment wounds, to build a life you love, to become the kind of person who attracts secure, available love. And if they come back, make sure you're not the same person they left. Make sure you've grown enough to see clearly whether they've grown too, or if they're just repeating the same pattern. Make sure you love yourself enough to walk away if nothing has changed. Because the saddest thing isn't losing someone who couldn't love you right. The saddest thing is taking them back and losing yourself in the process. You're stronger than you think. You're more worthy than you believe. And you're going to get through this silence. On the other side of it is clarity, peace, and the kind of love you actually deserve. Trust the process. Trust yourself. And trust that whatever is meant for you will never require you to shrink, chase, or beg. If this resonated with you, do me a favor and hit that like button. Drop a comment below and tell me where you are in your journey. Are you in the silence right now? Did you break and reach out? Did they come back? I read every comment, and I'm here with you through all of it. And if you want more real talk about attachment styles, healing from toxic relationships, and finding the love you deserve, subscribe and turn on notifications, because I post new videos every week. You've got this. I believe in you, and I'll see you in the next one.